Coming up on LA Radio Sessions, it's our regulars. R&B historian Steve Propes is here. Robbie Russell with the best in garage music. And TM brings us some tunage from some great indie and unsigned artists. Later in the hour on the phone from the East Coast, we'll have Rolling Stone insider Bill German, who will share some stories about his time with the greatest rock and roll band in the world. All this and more on LA Radio Sessions. Steve Propes is back with us this month. What have you got for us this month, Steve?
If there's such a thing as an idea, it's the fact that LA produced some great sounds in the 50s and 1960s. So I thought we'd review a few sounds and people that I've had the fortune of interviewing and meeting, like Joe Houston and Tony Allen, who, when you and I were broadcasting on WPMD, was a very frequent guest, whether I expected him or not.
Yeah, he would just show up. Right?
He would just show up. And then Dewey Terry of Don and Dewey was a sometimes guest, and unfortunately passed away. And I think it was my show was the last show he did. So I want to do a bit of a tribute to these guys, and then Huggy Boy too.
Okay, let me DJ
Huggy Boy. Go ahead, Mike.
Before we get into that,
yes.
I want to give our audience a little bit of background. How is it that you got into this little genre of music? Is it sprouted from the fact that you're a record collector?
Well, yeah, but that was all caused by Johnny Otis.
Okay.
Rest in peace.
How did that happen?
Well, because I was going to junior high school in Long Beach, California, and this might actually cause people to figure out how old I am. And the record of the day was Stranded in the Jungle, and there were two versions. And Johnny Otis went on KFOX, an AM station in Long Beach, and had a contest. Which of the two versions do you prefer? Well, we're not going to hear Stranded in the Jungle, and I forget which version won. But Johnny Otis and his show and the music he was playing, what the kids were listening to, just
knocked you out.
Took a hold of me.
Now, that was a TV show, wasn't it?
No, it was a radio show, KFOX.
Okay.
He was on in the evening for years, and when he wasn't on, Red Fox was the DJ.
Really?
Oh boy, I'll tell you.
Unbelievable. So that was what sparked it, was listening to the radio, KFOX.
KFOX 1260, I think, AM radio, man. It's what was happening then, and he would play his own records and other records, and it was just, I mean, that was cruising music, and then you'd hop into your American-made car with the record player, and you'd cruise Hodeys and other drive-ins, and just maybe have a beverage or two, and just have a good old rockin' time.
Right.
And then you put the 45s in the record player, and I thought, gee, I'd heard Work With Me Annie and 60 Minute Man,
right.
And I thought, this is for me. Those were the records that really sparked the thing. The record player, the car record player version of those two records.
Wow.
Now, DJ Huggy Boy,
right,
was a L.A. institution from 1953 until he passed away, I don't know, 6-7 years ago now, I'm sorry to say, and
he made his last appearance on your show, I
think he did, yeah. He was a good friend of mine, and we were going to do something. We were going to do a midnight show, and I was going to be his sidekick, and he had all these
big plans.
Big plans. And generally with Huggy Boy, if his health holds out, his plans usually come to fruition,
wow.
So I was pretty excited, but it wasn't to be. So during the day, he would have several sign-off theme songs. So I want to do Joe Houston All Night Long as a tribute to Huggy Boy. So just imagine listening all night long to Huggy Boy out of the Dolphins of Hollywood window, and this song came out on one of Dolphins' labels, Money Records. So what a coincidence. It became the Huggy Boy theme song. Later on, That's All by the Midnighters became his theme song. But
so this closed out his show every night?
All night long.
All night long.
All night long.
MP3 or whatever.
It's the new generation.
Here we go. All right.
Yeah, Joe Houston blowing on all night long with a crowd backing him up, and it was a real party session. The engineer said, quit clanging those bottles around. It's making too much noise.
That's a great record. That sounds good even today.
Oh, man. People would like to visit the WPMD show, and when I was on KLON, and when I was on Charter Cable in Long Beach. Tony Allen, man, what a character. You know Tony.
Tony was a character. He
What
still
a
is.
character. Used to perform at El Monte Legion Stadium, and was he would have host El Monte Legion Stadium parties where they would have a dart board made up of Art Laboe. His mom would cook for the parties, and he would charge like $10 a head. So he'd make, this wasn't any charity event.
He made some money.
He made some money.
That sounds like Tony.
And they were playing poker one time, and both Tony and Donnie Brooks told me this story. Donnie Brooks was in there playing poker with these guys. Some guy broke into the house, snatched the winnings off the poker table, and Tony gave chase. Tony was also a roller derby skater, so he could move. And Donnie Brooks was chasing the guy too. And they came up to him, and they both had like baseball bats or something to stop the guy. And Tony said, "You take him, Donnie." And Donnie says, "What's wrong with you? How come you can't take him?" He says, "I ain't gonna hit no brother." So this is Tony Allen's classic, Night Owl, and what a classic! Oh yeah.
Okay, after this, we'll do the next song, but that will also close out our show.
I can have Robert say a couple words. Yeah, okay. Two words.
Oh, you baby, I don't love you no more.
That's Tony. You can tell Tony just listen to that
Wait, yes, now it's time to tell me what a fool you be. Be on your merry way. Be on your merry way.
You can't believe what a fantastically successful record that was in terms of years and years of sales, and it was on the first Art Laboe Oldies But Goodies album. It became one of those super established LA oldies. It's unbelievable how influential that record was from everybody from the Righteous Brothers, lots of people were in love with that song, and it worked. That became his identity. Tony Allen had some rough times, and Art Laboe bailed him out, and he went to and recorded for Art Laboe. So there was always that relationship, dartboard or no dartboard.
Yeah. That was pretty much my introduction to, Los Angeles, like, music. I was about 12 years old when I first heard that, and we used to play the heck out of that record.
Oh yeah.
It was definitely like a local, anybody who was in a Mexican gang, that was our theme song.
And Tony Allen invented it. Just a one-of-a-kind guy. And I stay in touch with him, I mean, he's up, he's not a kid anymore.
No.
This is what happens. I bring records to trade with Steve, and then I pull out stuff from his garage. And then what ends up happening is the stuff that I pull out, he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that I had that in my garage."
And you don't give it, you don't let him have it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
What
Dewey Terry,
Dewey
another
Terry,
guest.
Don and Dewey. Don and Dewey.
And now, do you want my love, or are we through? They were through. And so am I.
And so are you. See you next month.
Thanks,
Steve.
Mike.
Beautiful. That was good.
Yeah, okay.
Did that work for you?
Yeah.
Did you get good stuff?
Yeah.
2 minutes. Robbie Russell, you're up next. Here's Cheryl.
How much you do so?
How are you? How you doing?